If you want to be a developer in 2023, there is a very specific roadmap I would follow. Maybe you've heard other developers say, just learn a language, any language, and everything else will just fall into place. I remember when I was trying to be a developer, I hated that advice. I wanted concrete advice, a real plan on what to do. And while that advice is kind of true, if you do learn a language, it is a lot easier to learn other languages. I don't actually think that's good advice. I'm going to give you a specific roadmap that I would follow if I had to do it all over again. Before I get started, if you are a developer watching this video, if you do not agree with the roadmap in this video, please let us know why in the comments below. For the new developers that may be watching, don't forget to subscribe. I come out with videos every single week, so make sure to also hit the bell icon. All right, the roadmap. This is the roadmap I would follow if you want to be a developer. These are the specific things I would learn in order. First, I would learn HTML. Next, I would learn CSS. Next, I would learn vanilla JavaScript. After that, I would learn React. Then I would learn Node.js. Then I would learn SQL. And finally, I would learn React Native Expo. That's the roadmap in a nutshell. Now, why follow this roadmap? Well, if you do follow this roadmap, you will be able to create basically anything. You can create any website you could ever want. You could even create apps that go on the Apple and the Google App Stores. You can even create desktop apps using something called Electron. If you follow that roadmap, you'll be able to build anything you could ever possibly want to build. And so here's how I'd get started. Download something called Visual Studio Code. It's a code editor. It lets you write code on your computer. It works on both Mac and Windows. Find a tutorial on HTML basics. Watch it. I guarantee there will be some recommendations on CSS related videos. Watch those recommendations. Watch vanilla JavaScript. Now, it's called vanilla JavaScript because there's a lot of what are called frameworks built around JavaScript to make JavaScript easier. But vanilla JavaScript is just basically using JavaScript on an HTML page. So if you learn HTML, CSS, JavaScript, all of those are technically on one HTML page. You can use them all on one HTML page. It's a good idea to learn how to just use those three things on a single HTML page. Your HTML is going to be like the stuff you see on the screen, like the text, the boxes, things like that. CSS is how you style the stuff on your screen, so you can make the HTML look however you want using CSS. JavaScript is what allows you to do things. So maybe you want an HTML input. You want somebody to be able to type something, click a button, and some new words pop up on the screen. Well, for that to happen, you're going to need JavaScript. So once you've learned those three things, HTML, CSS, vanilla JavaScript, you can actually go ahead and start building websites. Now, if you just stop there, it's going to take a long time to build your websites. And that's why you should move on to something called a framework. A framework is something that has a library of tools that help you to build websites faster. That's why the next thing I would learn is React. React is a web development framework. It's a JavaScript-based framework. With React, it makes it easy to write HTML in a special way called JSX. And JSX also lets you use JavaScript in a much faster way. Just using vanilla JavaScript, you have to write out a lot of stuff, which you'll learn about as you learn vanilla JavaScript. But React kind of cuts out all of that busy work. It makes the process a lot faster. And really, with just those tools right there, you can already get a job. You're technically already what's called a front-end web developer. Front-end means it's just everything you see on the web browser. It's all the code that gets sent to a web browser. And so just with that, if you get really good at just React, you can go ahead and get a job as a front-end developer. So if your goal is really, I just want to get a job, maybe you should actually stop there. Just learn HTML, CSS, vanilla JavaScript, React, and just get really good at React. Maybe take some design lessons as well so that your websites look really good. Now, if you're interested in going deeper and being what's called a full stack developer, you're going to want to learn backend development and also about databases. That's where Node.js and SQL come in. Node.js is a JavaScript-based server backend language. So you can create servers using Node.js. And you'll need a server for being able to connect like a domain to your website. So if you want to build a website for yourself, you're going to need to direct a domain name to an IP address. That IP address is basically a server, and all a server is a computer. There's a computer somewhere in the world that your server code lives on. It listens for traffic. If traffic goes to your specific port number on your IP address, then your server will return code, send code to the browser. I won't go too deep into it, but you should learn something like Node.js. It'll be the easiest server language to learn because it's JavaScript based and you'll already know JavaScript. And then I would learn SQL. There's a lot of different databases that all use SQL. So I would just search for some sort of tutorial on SQL. It'll probably teach you how to set up a database and how to connect to that database using Node.js. And just with that technology, you're already a full stack developer. So you don't just know how to build front end code that everybody can see on the browser. You also will know how to build servers, how to build out databases, and you can build any website you want from front to back. And then if you want to go one step further to be able to build Apple apps on the Apple App Store or Android apps on the Google Play Store, you'll want to learn what's called React Native, and you'll want to use Expo with React Native. It's super similar to React. If you know React, you basically already know React Native Expo. Literally in under an hour, you can learn React Native Expo if you already know React. And at that point, you can build anything you could possibly want. You could build websites, you could build apps, and if you did want to build desktop apps, you could use something called Electron. I would say you need to be devoting at least 3 hours a day, at least 6 days a week. And I would bet in about 6 months, you'd be a developer. You'd be ready. So that's my developer roadmap. I really highly would suggest following that specific roadmap first. Then if you want to learn anything else, you really would at that point know all the skills you need to know to learn anything. You'll find it is actually true what people say. If you do just learn one language, it'll make it so easy to learn everything else. The reason is you're already basically 80% of the way there, maybe even 90% of the way there. You just have to learn the different syntax of each framework, but it's all basically the same thing. From that point on, you really could pick up a new language in maybe a month or two. It really is that simple. If you're a developer, let us know in the comments below. Do you agree with this roadmap, or do you have any suggestions for new developers that may be watching this video? If you have different suggestions, let us know in the comments below. Don't forget to subscribe, hit the bell icon. If you like the video, don't forget to like the video. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time.